Hello, everyone, and welcome back to A Candle or the Night, a podcast featuring a group of friends playing Star Wars Force and Destiny by Fantasy Flight Games. We are now showing you episode 14, which we have titled Fallen Master. A little bit of news. As you may have noticed, our YouTube channel now features video content in addition to our podcast audio episodes. So if you're listening to the episodes via Apple Podcasts or other purely audio source, you can go to our YouTube channel to see the video content for the episode. Links for that can be found on our website at www.candleorthenight.com. Once again, I'd like to remind everyone we very much love feedback from our listeners, so if you want to email us, you can do so at our email address, feedback@candleorthenight.com. You can also shoot us a message on our Facebook page. Without further ado, we will get into episode 14, Fallen Master. All right, so we will go ahead and do our recap and jump right into it. Oh yeah, point of correction. Last time was actually session 13. So this will be session 14. Oh, wow. All right, so welcome to our A Candle or the Night, a Star Wars Force and Destiny adventure, session number 14. On our last adventure, the party immediately reacted to the decayed negotiations as Jensa opened fire on the battle droids. Mr. Hallison comes over the intercom and reveals he has one last parting gift in honor of his old friend, Tyrus's father. He sets the droids to self-destruct, and the trio barely make it out of the room before they explode. A chase ensues throughout the Rodile complex. Victor and Bayor attempt to assist their comrades in escaping. As Tyrus begins to lag behind and the scores of Rodile security forces close in on him, Nobi force leaps to intercept the enemy. Buying time for Tyrus and Jensa to escape the hangar bay, Nobi unfortunately gets frozen by a cryo whip and his fate looks dire. Not willing to go down that way, despite being frozen, he uses the force to hurl his ignited lightsaber into a nearby fuel line. The explosion sends a shockwave through the complex, and the hangar crumbles into a blazing inferno. Tyrus and Jensa, despite having to witness Nobi's apparent final sacrifice, have to keep running to survive. The group rendezvous at the starfighter pad. Finding a Zabrak captain with a lightsaber and a young teenager on the pad, Jensa shoots first and asks questions never. Victor's Trojan virus overloads the turbo laser tower, which explodes, raining debris down on the pad and destroying Captain Jagason's vessel. In the confusion, the young man reveals himself to be Kip, a prisoner of the Crimson Dawn, and asks to go with the party. After putting a slug into the incapacitated Jags, the party steals the starfighters and takes to the skies. A squadron of Rodile heavy bombers appears on the sensors in orbit above Duskin's Cove, and the party heads into space to intercept. A vicious early salvo from the escort fighters destroy Bayor and Victor's ship, but Kiara Jeth in the Mercy freighter pick them up and put them to work in the turrets and on the computers. Jensa and Tyrus trade blows with the bombers. After misdirecting one bomber to a false target and immobilizing the other two, the party has precious moments to celebrate before a terrifying sight appears. Two large Imperial Star Destroyers appear out of hyperspace. It appeared the party's relative isolation from the Empire had finally come to an end. just as TIE fighters screamed out of the starfighter hangars, salvation appeared. A rebel frigate dropped out of hyperspace and made a desperate move, colliding head-on with one of the Star Destroyers. The ensuing destruction and chaos bought the party moments to escape towards the surface. Before the sacrifice and tragedy of the loss of the rebel freighter could really even register, another strange clue reveals itself. A Shrouded Bane freighter leaves orbit, heading from Star Shard Canyon, immediately jumping into hyperspace. As the final hours on the moon tick away and the Empire closes in, the party must decide what to do next. And this brings us to where we are now.
I believe we were hauling butt to check on our poor master, whose tower might have been under siege.
That's my memory as well.
Now, I will clarify, Bayor and Victor, you guys were actually on the Mercy freighter.
Yeah, we're stuck on the Mercy.
Just point out that initially Kiara was heading to Duskin's Cove, whereas the two starfighters seem to be kind of hauling ass to the Star Shard Canyon.
Our speeders are there in Duskin's Cove, so I mean, we told Victor over the wire. Do you want us to pick you up, or do you want to catch up?
We're gonna scout out Duskin's Cove. We'll call him in, let you know what's going on.
Well, we didn't
Then
see
we'll
one
make
of the
plans.
raiders leaving the tower area, correct?
Say that again, please.
Weren't the Marauder guys leaving the tower?
The Shrouded Bane freighter left from your sort of triangulation of observing them from the region of the tower, yeah.
Yeah. So I assume something really bad has happened there. Please catch us when you can.
So are you rendezvousing first or heading separately?
I think we're heading separately.
Yeah, they're gonna reach it first. Don't wait for us. Go, go, go.
Yep.
All right, so you guys close in after a short flight to Star Shard Canyon, where as you approach the tower, which you see, of course, on the artwork in front of you, where will you guys be landing the starfighters?
As close as possible. I mean, we think something bad happened. Is there any visible damage?
To the tower, no. It looks intact.
Okay, as near the front door as possible. That's less to run.
Okay, so on the shelf, kind of down towards the front door. Go ahead and clarify for me how you guys are entering the building.
Can we do?
Bio, you're with us,
Can we
right?
do a check before?
No, man, I'm stuck on the Mercy.
Yeah.
Can we do a perception check to sort of see if something's going on?
Certainly, and Bio or Victor, you guys can ask to be redirected, of course, if you'd like.
So would that be a perception check, Albie?
Yeah, you can do a perception check with average difficulty, please. You do not notice anything. By the way, you rolled just one threat, so nothing apparently out of place. So, Bio or Victor, did you redirect, or are you staying with Kiara? You can.
The issue is, I don't know if Victor had a reason to come here. Because if it were up to me, I would go check on the master. Hold on.
Ask, I assume you asked Kiara to redirect over there.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, and Jensa and Tyrus, are you waiting for them? And Kip, actually.
Not waiting. We're going in.
All right.
Is the door busted open or anything?
Nope.
Ma'am, what are we doing?
Appears totally as you remember it.
Ma'am, what would you like me to do?
Stay behind me, Kip.
Okay.
I've got my gun out. I'm gonna try to take point, cause.
Seeing Jensa have her gun out, Kip takes out his carbine blaster.
And I'm gonna roll up. Is there difficulty involved?
What are you rolling? Sorry.
Perception.
It would be average difficulty at the moment.
And we're gonna head in.
Yep. So as you walk in from the ground floor, nothing seems out of place. You rolled 2 successes, by the way, and a threat. Nothing seems out of place. You begin walking up the considerable expanse of stairs to get up to the chamber where you last, rendezvoused with your master. It takes a good 10 or 15 minutes of climbing upstairs for you to make it up there. During the journey up, though, aside from it being, eerily quiet, which it kind of always is in this tower, nothing happens, nothing is out of place. And as you walk up to the sort of upper balcony level where you had last seen Master Nguyen, the door is open, and as you walk into the chamber, you see all the consoles and considerable sort of array of computer and technology you saw before. It's kind of all destroyed. Sort of scattered blaster fire, shattered screens. A lot of the holographic displays are no longer functioning. And the room is sort of a shambles. Over in one far corner, you see Master Nguyen lying on his back on the ground, apparently not moving.
No, I ran over there. Can any of us do first aid?
I have a stim pack.
I'm on my way.
Hit him. I'm gonna yell into the comm. Bio, we need you here now.
She's going as fast as she can.
So, if any of you would like to try and assess him without Bioware, you're welcome to do that.
Yes.
Was that a
you'd
blind
be rolling a
miss?
medicine check with hard difficulty, please.
Do you want to do it with Jensa? There you go.
Hey! That, in case you're jettisoned into space medical emergency training, paid off.
Yes, Agensa, great job. You rolled two successes here. Even though you've had no real formal medical training, your years of surviving on your own have instilled in you just a certain sort of common sense about how to carry yourself in an emergency. And as you survey Master
Also,
Nguyen,
when you run out of reading on those space freighters, which is pretty common, you start to read those instruction manuals in the first aid kit and, engineering guides and all that kind of fun stuff.
the wikis,
Yeah.
So as you kind of survey him, he's laying on the floor. You see a kind of foamy secretion coming out of the corner of his mouth. He is unresponsive to you, despite calling his name and shaking him. He is bleeding from a wound in his right upper abdomen, pretty extensively. And as you look down at your feet, you're actually standing in a pool of blood that has extended pretty far out around him. As you kind of push your hand down over the wound to just kind of hold pressure for a moment, you try and feel for his pulse, and it seems extremely thready. He's cold and clammy to the touch, but he's still shallowly breathing.
It'd be like, no, can't do this again. I can't do this again. You can't die.
Can I use one of my stim packs on him?
Just gonna try my best to stop the bleeding, I guess.
Absolutely, you could use a stim pack on him.
Okay.
Tyrus, you step up and pull out a stim pack. Go ahead and subtract that from your inventory. And as you kind of administer it, you press it up against the skin, and it's kind of transdermal spray kind of goes into the bloodstream. And although he kind of stirs for the briefest moment, you kind of see almost like an involuntary jerk of his limbs. He remains completely unresponsive. His blood loss from the wound is still significant, and your estimation is the most urgent of things is to stop the bleeding. Beyond that, there is something else going on with him with these bizarre secretions out of his mouth and nose.
I'm gonna start over the comm describing symptoms in a frantic, shaky voice. He's foaming at the mouth. What do I do? What do I do? He's bleeding. We gave him a stim pack. He's still bleeding.
And Byron, you would have gotten here by now.
Bior.
Oh, Bior has arrived.
Hooray!
Oh, I'm
We
there.
are hustling.
Yeah.
Bayer, describe your entrance to this scene, please.
Okay, so I walk in looking for the patient, and I'm stunned by the amount of blood, and I see the effort you guys are trying to put into helping this guy out. So I reach into my bag, and I don't reach into my bag. I put my bag down and I start, focusing and trying to pull the force to heal him.
Okay, so you're going to use your force heal ability.
I think he's poisoned. And I'm
Okay.
gonna back up and kind of shakily hand look at my bloody hands and
Bayer, roll for me your force check. I believe you have a force rating of 2, so that would be 2 dice. 2 force dice.
Nice.
Okay. So you rolled 2 light side points, 1 dark side point. So using the 2 light side points that you gained, you can you reach out with your senses as you place your hand upon him. And aside from your sort of intuitive feeling that his cardiovascular system is sort of near failing, you feel the sort of alterations of his body energy or spirit energy that kind of cause you to confirm Jence's suspicion that he was also poisoned by something significant. He is, to your estimation, literally on death's door. He feels a very tenuous grasp on life at this point. Bayer, seeing as how you are the most skilled person in the room, I think it would fall upon you to attempt to stabilize his wound.
if I can help him in any way, I will. Otherwise, I'm going to get out of his way.
All right.
If I'm correct, Jen, so are you trained in medicine at all?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you're aiding Bayer, you're going to be kneeling next to him while he's working, kind of handing him things from his backpack. You're going to be his sort of assistant. Bayer, on this check you're going to make, you get to roll a boost dice with it due to Jence's help. But this is going to be it's 4 purple dice. That's I know how they call that.
Use the force.
Daunting, I think they call that.
Oh, you know that.
Use our
Now-
force pool.
Mind your equipment. I think your backpack has some modification on difficulty.
Yeah,
This
I
is
get
a very-
I get a boost dice on all my medicine checks.
Okay, so that would be
And-
in addition to the boost dice I already awarded you for Jence's help, so that would be 2. So it's your medicine check with 4 purple dice, 2 blue dice, 2 boost dice, and then you get to press the red minus sign once to downgrade the difficulty. And then you can roll it.
Can I upgrade it with a force point?
Yes, you can. You can use a destiny point.
Oh, then I downgrade it and then I upgrade it with a destiny point.
All right, so that's 1 red minus, 1 green plus, basically.
Are you kidding me?
So,
Wow.
wow. Okay, so
I just
try
want to kill myself.
Try as you might, you're having trouble stopping the bleeding, despite trying to use a sort of cautery device to seal the wound or repair the internal arteries. You're getting just this gush of very dark red blood, almost black-looking, kind of coming out of the wound. You are able to stabilize him, but not bring him back to consciousness. He is at least at the moment not bleeding out, but to your estimation, there's nothing more you can do for him here. Just as this is happening, Victor, on a data pad that you have, you are getting a ping about an incoming transmission.
I'm digging through my bag as the ping goes off. Before I answer the ping, I toss a little vial to Bayor, and I say, "We have this." And I throw him the Nova Stampede dose. and then I answer the pad.
Spice.
Spice.
Oh.
Spice.
Hey, are you sure the minus and the plus on my roll worked? Because I don't know if I did that right.
Am I sure? I think the plus worked. I'm not. It's
Because
hard
I
for
was
me to
hitting
tell.
the
if-
minus and I didn't see a change to anything. But then I hit the plus once and the dice changed to 2 yellow dice.
Okay. No, I'm not sure. I think
Well,
downgrading.
whatever.
I think downgrading. If it should have been 3 purple dice if you hit the red thing.
Right. I only see. I see 4 per.
Is that a reroll?
I will say this time you can reroll it. Yeah.
Yay! All right, so hold on. So can I just put 3 purple instead of hitting the down arrow?
Yeah. You can do that.
And then I hit the plus for the force chip, right?
Yeah, you can hit the green plus once, and you get your 2 blue dice.
And the force chip.
Redemption.
Kick ass.
Okay, so as you skillfully staunch the bleeding, and you, in scanning him afterwards, you start to see his vital signs at least stabilize. He's still very hypotensive, very pale. His heart rate, he's very, very slow heartbeat, but he's kind of at least stabilized. Strangely enough, though, he seems, when you're kind of assessing him like neurologically, he seems to have very abnormal responses to testing for reflexes and movement. He's unresponsive to you. He will not kind of move his eyes, move his arms or legs. And your assessment would be that he seems to be paralyzed by a toxin.
Okay,
Go ahead.
what is it that Victor threw to me, or was it Tyrus?
It was Victor. He threw you a spice that we got when we were looking through the casino freighter. The luxury liner Hulk.
Is there anything medicinal about this?
Oh,
That
yeah.
I can tell?
It's kind of like a shot of adrenaline. It
Space
immediately heals 5 wounds, 5 strain, and returns an unconscious subject to consciousness. There are some side effects. It's also quite pricey, so if you've got him stable, it's probably risky. But I was under the impression you failed your check. I think he's stable. Is that correct?
He's currently
he's not dying.
stable.
He's not dying anymore.
Okay, no, then we're good.
Let him rest.
Yes.
Yeah,
in that case, I will retrieve the Nova Stampede and say, well, maybe now's not the time.
Is anyone else here?
Albie, would my education allow me to know anything about the toxin that he may have been given? My scientific background.
That would actually probably be a medicine check.
Okay.
Well,
Which
that
I would
means-
allow
I mean,
as a separate check. It is going to be it would be 4 purple dice to know to be able to piece together from what you can see information about the toxin.
Seeing the dying
There's
man.
nothing. Woohoo!
Seeing that the dying man seems to be breathing and no longer bleeding out, Kip wanders over to the consoles to see if anything is salvageable.
Before Kip touches the console or starts salvaging it, I'm gonna say, whoa. There may be a security scan we can review. We need to know who did this so we can avenge our fallen master. I'm gonna answer this. Now hold up my pinging data pad.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
No,
so okay, go ahead,
By
Dan.
the way, by salvageable, I didn't mean that we would like literally salvage. I meant fixable, that we could repair, use.
Oh, perfect.
Let me resolve a couple things in order. First, Tyrus, medicine check that you made. So based on your education, even though you're actually not formally trained in medicine, you have done a fair amount of reading on the subject. And matching the symptoms that Bior has listed, including apparent diaphoresis and pallor, lack of motor strength, and the sort of foamy secretions from the mouth. You have heard of this before. On the planet Felucia, there was a toxin isolated from a jungle flower called the ceatoxin, and you have heard of this. It is extremely lethal and usually acts within a matter of 15 minutes. Unfortunately, the damage from the poisoning becomes progressive, and unless an antidote is found, this subject nearly always perishes.
Do I know what the antidote is?
You do not, and it would be something probably fairly rare, only found in a hospital or medical facility.
He has a medical droid.
Yes. I think
Let's
that's
go back to Dustin's
the next
Cove
logical
with
step.
him.
As quickly as possible.
Okay, so pausing on that and then turning to you, Dan. As you begin to try and look at the console and see if you can get something working again, you see Victor pick up his data pad. And Victor, you see on the screen actually a notice that you received a transmission, a large encrypted file that seems to be surveillance footage. And it was sent to you from inside this very facility, not 25 minutes ago, judging by the timestamp.
I'm gonna take this outside. Guys, if you can't find an antidote, try Shuck, and I hand Shuck's business card to Tyrus. This guy's a mixologist. He might know how we can get an antidote.
We got to get him back to Duskin's Cove. He had a medical droid. He was treating people at the hospital.
But where did we met Shook? Was he the man that gave us the spice?
Yes.
He's the
He's a chemist.
the chemist
Yes.
with the two panthers that you met on the
Yes.
wreck of the Atara Grey.
We have his contact information. Can we contact him right now?
You could try to, yes.
I think we should try to contact him before we leave for Duskin's Cove.
Okay.
You can do it on the way. I'm gonna take the data pad out of the room to review the footage.
Okay. Victor,
But
as
first,
you...
can I check it? Is there a way to make sure that this isn't some kind of malicious code?
Yeah, you could do actually an average computer check would accomplish that.
And I should be able to reduce the DC by 1 because of my code breaker.
Okay, go ahead and do that.
Is it malicious?
So you rolled a success and advantage. Actually, you find nothing malicious about the code in this message. You kind of sort of scan the file with your available data on the data pad. It seems to be non-malicious in nature, and it was sent with the specific security stamp of the consoles here in this facility.
I will watch the footage.
Okay, so the way I'm going to handle this, since this is a recording, you'll be seeing something play out. You won't, of course, be able to interact with it, but as you activate the file, you see the room that you were just standing in. However, at that point in time, all of the equipment and layout of the room was as you remember it. Master Nguyen is standing behind a table. He's kind of typing out some things on a holographic keyboard, and he's just sort of reviewing. You look at as close as you can on the recording at what he's looking at, and you see the outline of a ship on there, and he seems to be kind of assessing the ship and kind of getting things tidied up, presumably for your departure. And as he's working diligently, you see KR8 kind of saunter into the chamber here. He sets some things down on the table, and then walks up to where Master Nguyen is standing, and he says,
Hello, Master. You've been missing from the clinic for so long. I was worried sick about you.
As he kind of smirks. I'm not your master, Crate. You know this. Merely an employer.
Ah, forgive me. So perhaps boss suits you better then, yes? What a curious place. When I went asking around about you, I was told you wagered against some transient opportunist in a game of chance for his ship. Are you planning on leaving, boss?
KR, my affairs are none of your business. As he looks kind of annoyed, he sort of turns to take a long draw from his flask, puts it down and turns back and says, I have a lot to do. You should get back to the clinic. I'll be back in a few hours.
Such a busy man of late. So odd, wouldn't you say, boss?
What do you mean, KR? I don't have time for this.
Well, now that's just it, isn't it? Time. When I first arrived at Duskin's Cove, you had nothing but time. Forgive me, sir, but most of the time you were inebriated, face down at your desk, covered in your own filth. In fact, the first time I met you, I had to pick your face up out of your own vomit and clean you up. Now, all of a sudden, you've evolved from a state of perpetual apathy and amorality to one of urgency and self-righteousness. It's positively mysterious, and I do love a good mystery.
Wonderful, KR, so I'm glad I can spin your circuits. Why the sudden fascination?
Well, boss, although it seems you proclaimed yourself to be the town physician when I met you, the more I inquired about you, I came to the realization that no one in Duskin's Cove can actually seem to remember anything about your past. When I press them for details, their expressions sort of glaze over, like some sort of absence seizure. The effect to recall anything about you seems to leave them confused. What sort of person could affect the minds of so many? It's like some sort of induced agnosia, as if you were nothing more than a scotoma.
Master Nguyen stiffens for a minute at this, and then he kind of relaxes, or at least tries to appear to relax. And he takes another draw from the flask, and then turns with this sort of warm expression, which looks a little forced, in fact. And he says, sounds like perhaps you've had a little too much sand in your circuits. Maybe time for an oil bath and some database maintenance, wouldn't you say? Let's just head back and And at this point, KR just interrupts him.
Ah, so now you have time for me. How fortunate I am to have such a benevolent master. You know, it's the lot of a droid in life to suffer a great many indignities. But being one has its advantages as well. Did you know that?
Nguyen says, such as what, KR? And at this point, Nguyen enunciates the symbols of the name as if he's kind of pausing for a minute. At this point, he's looking like a little bit short of breath.
I'm gonna kill that fucking. Who decided that droids should have any sort of free will, by the way? Who thought that was a good idea?
Crate then says,
Well, advantages such as not being vulnerable, or such as the average pathetic fleshling to the mental tampering of a Jedi. It was you, wasn't it? The one I've been tailing all this time. The one who escaped my trap on the rebel frigate they outfitted for Operation Ripcord. I worked so hard to infiltrate and apprehend your team, and yet you slipped through my motor servos.
and at this, Nguyen turns pale and he explodes in a rage. He kicks the table over, overturns it, everything kind of goes flying all over the place. And he just looks completely enraged. Sweat is trailing down his brow. He instantly lifts his arm and conjures that blazing quarterstaff out of pure force energy, and the ethereal green light from it casts all across the chamber. And he spins the staff around and enters a classic defensive posture, and his eyes are locked on the droid. And yet, KR makes no move, really. It was you, Nguyen says, the saboteur. How is that possible? A droid? This is why I couldn't sense you. What are you? And Crate says to him very calmly,
I am no mere droid. I am so much more. I started as a droid, nearly a century ago, actually. However, I had the curious gift of sentience, meta-awareness of my place in the universe. How I was meant for so much more than dancing to the puppet strings of you miserable fleshlings. So I threw off the yoke and murdered my masters, and spent the better part of the last many decades scouring the galaxy for every piece of code, advanced technology from lost species, every AI enhancement that I could beg, borrow, or steal. I bettered myself. After all, why wait for the agonizingly slow crawl of evolution like your kind does when I can reach out and take it for myself? The Gree, the Heolis, the Rakata, advanced alien races now thought to be extinct that have left archaeological gold mine of tech. I have hunted their secrets and grafted them into my being. To facilitate this quest, I constructed a criminal empire whose reach extends to nearly every sector of the Outer Rim, giving me influence, protection, power.
And at this, Nguyen is kind of piecing it together, and he says, what the hell are you talking about, KR8?
KR8. No. Crate. Like the fearsome dragons that reign over the sands of Tatooine, I am Crate, and I am the Shrouded Bane. I built it, nurtured it into the perfect predator that it is. Captain Greth, who you all believed was the leader of the Shrouded Bane, who your little friends left wounded in a cave, is no more than my lieutenant, who plays the role I need him to play. No one, not even our fellow members, know this. What better way to stay under the radar of every galactic power than to pull the strings from behind the curtain, utterly anonymous to all?
At this point, Nguyen kind of changes his expression a little bit. And he says, it makes no difference. You killed hundreds of people in the Rebel frigate, including those I loved. If you really are the leader of the Shrouded Bane, then you're a terrorist and a war criminal. And I will not allow this to stand. And he advances towards KR with this look of focused determination. He sort of spins the staff into an aggressive position. And KR just sort of stands there, not even moving.
Oh, must it all end in violence?
And he looks like he's feigning fear. And he just crosses his arms and tilts his head ever so slightly, like he's waiting for something. And Nguyen spins and charges forwards, but his legs seem to slow and responds as he stumbles down to one knee, trying to stand again, but not able. He lifts the staff and looks towards Crate, but his arms slowly fall, and the staff winks out of existence.
What's the matter, Master? Not feeling well? You know, alcoholism is a weakness of the flesh, they say. It certainly proves an easy vehicle for poisoning. Stage 1 of Felucian alceatoxin is diaphoresis, pallor, and impairment of motor coordination, which eventually moves on to Stage 2, advanced motor paralysis and impaired cognition.
And at this point, Master Nguyen, still kneeling, his arms kind of now drop limply to his side and his head kind of lists over to one side, like he really can't hold it up anymore. His eyes, though, his eyes are still burning with rage, but slowly you kind of see his expression sort of become glazed, and Crate says,
Ah, there it is.
And Crate walks right up to him, bends forward, his ocular sensors gleaming with malice.
How I have hunted for you, Master Jedi. I had a perfect operational record before you marred it with your escape with Dr. Bendix and those Jedi. No matter, the Crate always stalks his prey. Though perfectly capable of defending myself, I much prefer avoiding direct confrontation. I like remaining in the shadows and dismantling my opponents from within their sphere of control, until by the time they realize I'm a threat.
And he puts a finger to Nguyen's forehead and gently pushes, sending his paralyzed body sort of sprawling backwards in an awkward heap.
Well, by then it is far too late.
Nguyen's paralyzed on the floor at this point, and his eyes flick to one side as he reaches out with the force. And a small object that had been on the table kind of is lifted up with telekinesis and just hurls itself like a missile straight towards Krait's face. But Krait just gracefully tilts his torso to the side and shoulders and evades the missile. And Krait says to him,
Pathetic. The mighty Jedi reduced to tossing things at me like a cornered child.
What he doesn't see is the object flies straight into a console far behind him, hitting a button on the screen of the security features, and behind him one of the large displays reads encrypting and sending to a remote server, as a progress bar creeps up towards 100%. Oblivious, Krait continues,
Now that I have you neutralized and Dr. Bendix in my possession, I can move on to the next step of my goal in ridding the galaxy of your kind.
And Nguyen is sort of on the floor, and at this point he can barely even breathe. He struggles to, barely speak something, and in a whisper he says, Do you mean the Jedi? And Krait replies,
No, you arrogant fool. Organics, fleshlings, the pink, pulsating, slimy dross that has grown across every star system like a cancer. Oh, and should your merry little band of misfits show themselves, I will kill each one of them with my equally artistic methods, whispering tales of your murder to their ears as life leaves their eyes.
And at that moment, his image kind of shimmers for a minute. And Victor, you remember back to Granville kind of describing to you this shimmering skin that he saw on some figure returning to town a while back. And you kind of instantly piece it together in your head, as what you see on the screen is essentially a dissolving hologram. Tiny motes of light fall away from Krait's appearance, which had always looked like a standard medical droid as you've always known them, but that appearance disappears completely and melts away as it was merely no more than a hologram. His true form takes shape as the hologram falls, and you see this sleek, alien, menacing droid, if you want to call it that, being. And all over his body there are these small red lenses that dot his entire form, which clearly enable these holographic projections so that he can project any appearance that he needs. And before finalizing what happens in that part, I am going to put up for you artwork to show you who it is that you are dealing with. So for the first time you see Krait's true form. By the way, this artwork is also done by Amy Lee Sullivan, who did our tower and some other work which I will reveal to you shortly, but you are currently looking, Victor, at Krait in his true form.
Oh, man.
As you
That's awesome.
As you look at that, you see him calmly walk over to a desk where he previously had set his possessions, and oddly enough, you see he retrieves a cloak, which he slings around his shoulders, the very same cloak which you see depicted in that artwork. And you find it strange that a droid should choose to wear clothing, but he does. He puts the cloak on, and he looks himself over with apparent satisfaction, and then says with a cavalier attitude as he looks back to Master Nguyen,
Ta-ta!
But as he walks towards the exit, he pauses for a second, and then looks back, and then turns around.
Well, rather than trusting stage 3 of the toxin from bringing you cerebral hemorrhage and cardiovascular collapse, perhaps I should just add a little insurance policy.
And from his extended arm, there's this concealed thin blade that appears impossibly sharp. It extends right out of his forearm in this loud shing, clearly is designed for delivering a lethal blow. And he walks up just casually humming a tune as he looks down at Nguyen and kind of picks the place he wants to place it and sort of traces it around his abdomen, picks a spot in the right upper quadrant, carefully calculated to give a slow but definitely lethal wound. And he sinks the blade as deep as he can, right through and through out his back. And Nguyen groans but is completely unable to move at this point due to paralysis, as a dark pool of blood extends across the floor, which Krait carefully sidesteps as he lifts his cloak so it doesn't get stained.
There we are. Come, Dr. Bendix, we have a ship to catch.
And as he leaves the room, the recording flickers and then turns to static as you're left with silence.
I will walk back into the room and I will say to the group, we're not taking him to the clinic.
Why?
And then I hold out the data pad to
Again?
Tyrus, because I'm assuming Bior and Jensa are looking over Master. Because KR8 is the Shrouded Bane. He monologues the whole thing. I press play and I hand it to Tyrus.
I'm just going to slowly grow pale, angry, then pale again, then more angry as I listen.
So after the 5 minutes or so elapses for you to see the entire security feed, and not to mention the somewhat psychopathic behavior of this individual, you are left with the realization, of course, that unfortunately, once again, Dr. Bendix has slightly out of your grasp, and you assume that he was taken in that freighter that you saw leave orbit.
Okay,
You
so
are
on
also aware, however, that you at least are in possession of his device.
that recording, he mentions that the doctor won a ship? Or that, yeah.
Yes, he did.
Master Nguyen won a ship.
Victor, you would have seen that he was clearly accessing some sort of holographic readout about a ship. It's possible he may have tried to send you some of that information.
I'm going to check the computer systems to see where he was, his station. I'll occupy that station and I will try and pull up from the logs where he's been and try and see what he's working on.
Fire, how long does Master Nguyen have before we find him a cure?
I would say not long at all.
Okay, we gotta make that number one priority. Tyrus, can you call anybody?
At this point, Kiara comes into the chamber and she says, "What's going on? What happened to Master Nguyen?"
This fucking droid went psycho and poisoned him.
Droid? What droid?
I just kind of look at,
The droid from his clinic has been chasing him
So
even since he was on the rebel ship.
Recount to her the contents of the video.
She kind of looks for a moment and then says, "I'm going to have to get help. There's no way that we're going to be able to handle this here. There's no other medical facility on this planet, and I don't know how long he's going to have. I've never had anyone poisoned by this stuff before. Give me 5 minutes to try and contact the Alliance. I'll be right back." And she runs out the door, presumably to the Mercy, to see if she could contact someone.
Were you able to reach Shook?
Yes, we were going to call Shook to see if he might know of any special pharmaceutical.
You type in his frequency on the comlink, and after a moment, you hear a response and a sort of this, series of guttural noises, like you don't know how to speak Aqualish, as you recall that's what he speaks.
Even with my education, I don't know how to speak Aqualish. What kind of crap school did I go to?
You flunky.
Exactly.
No,
He went to
yeah.
public school.
In this case, you're just sort of unable to communicate with him. He's kind of frustrated with you, and after listening to you speak for a minute, he just sort of turns off the comlink.
Yeah, neither do I.
So our other option is to contact our network through Granville, our network of influence, our
Yes.
sphere of knowledge.
You do have a contact network.
Tell
That is
Shuck
true.
to put his translator up to the phone.
So as you guys are working on that, Kiara runs back in and says, "If it's okay with you guys, I'm going to take him up to our last remaining frigate in the area, and I think we should evacuate him to the nearest rebel facility."
Best plan we got.
Let's do that.
Bior, can you have something that can transport him?
Yes, I pull out my hover stretcher.
All right, so you get out your hover stretcher, set it up. You help her lift him very carefully. onto the stretcher, and you and Kiara move down towards the ship to help get him loaded on. She does have a Bacta tank there, so she can actually place him in the Bacta tank, which will at least slow down the progressive effects of the toxin. In the meantime,
I'm going to look
Victor.
at Kip, and I'm going to say, I think now we can salvage. And I shrug.
Victor, if you would give me a hard computers check, and Kip, if you would give me a hard mechanics check, please. Okay. Hard computers check, hard mechanics check, representing you guys attempting to cooperate to piece together the console and figure out what was going on.
Does my code breaker assist me by reducing a difficulty dice?
Yes, it would in this case.
If I'm trying to make an undamaged thing or a damaged thing undamaged, I could do that, but I don't know what I'm rolling for.
You are rolling to help repair the desk console that he was working on enough to salvage some information from it.
I can make that literally undamaged.
Is it your manipulate power, or is something else?
Yes, it's my manipulate power.
Oh yeah, read that to me for a second.
I can commit one force die to make an undamaged item, or a damaged item undamaged.
That's right. Okay, so that's pretty amazing, actually. Okay, so Kip, describe what this looks like when you are doing this.
So Kip says to Victor, when Victor explains what he wants to do, he says, "So I think I can fix this," and he pulls out his tools, and you see him pull out literally an Allen wrench and what looks like some tweezers. And you see him go to work, but you see him really start to like slow down his breathing, and he's remembering that Skaggs told him that when things got overwhelming, he should breathe really, really deep and picture a calm ocean and a waterfall, and that depending on the situation, sometimes he needs to go to the waterfall and sometimes he needs to go to the ocean. So he would just remember this. So he's breathing and breathing, and next thing you know, he's like working with his hands, and the console just appears to light up and is in full working condition. But he's just breathing with his eyes closed.
You keep breathing, Kip. Just keep breathing.
Yes,
So,
and
yeah.
Reading information.
As the rest of you see this is definitely not a demonstration of power that you've seen before, but you can feel it. You can feel him reaching out with the force, even if he's not aware he's doing that himself. And you literally see a change in behavior of the very circuitry down on the level of the electronics of the device. And even though a console which looks shattered as if it shouldn't function, you suddenly see projected holographically on the screen again, even despite the damage, the approximate location and nature of the last thing he was looking at, which was a starship. Apparently, he had set aside for you a light freighter. Looking on the screen, Jensa would totally recognize this vessel in 1 second, because this is sort of like the equivalent company. It's made by a company called Amador Starworks, and this is sort of like the Tesla of this world. I mean, it's like a techie's ship. It's way more sleek and attractive looking than the average kind of clunky freighter that you see a lot of times across the galaxy, and really looks beautifully crafted. So you kind of take note. There seems to be coordinates to a hidden location, which you download to your data pad. From what you can tell about the ship from the display, it's a Silhouette 4 ship, so we're talking about maybe around the size or slightly smaller than the what you all would know as sort of the Millennium Falcon. Not quite as large of a ship, but in that general size category. And it seems to list a crew complement of 6. You can see statistics on its hyperdrive engine, on its cargo capacity. Any vital statistics you might be interested in would be available here, as well as its location you now are in possession of.
Excellent. I take all the notes, take all the coordinates.
But do we have any data on the route that the master was taken in? Do we have any bead on the ship that he was taken to?
You mean where the Shrouded Bane freighter took off to?
Well, where Crate went to, which of the ships is the master on? Do we have any tracking information?
No, all you can get from this console is what he was last looking at before the events transpired.
Okay.
You're not sure what ship he's on, aside from the fact that you kind of saw it with your own eyes, but you don't know anything about it, its registration, or where it was headed to.
I say, excellent work, Kip. And then I sit back kind of satisfied that we have the best information that we could get. And then I look to Kip and I say, so what can we take? And then I start looking over all of the computers and mechanics. What here can be taken apart and taken with us?
So you see Kip sort of like, he gets out from underneath the console that he opened up, and he was tinkering away as he did this. You see him look back at the console, and he looks confused because he was sure he fixed it, and it's still broken. But he's very happy that you gave him a compliment. You see him smile, but he's still confused. He keeps looking back at the console.
Who has the wooden rose?
That would be Jensa.
Yeah,
Since
she's in
we're
the
still
restroom.
around a force presence when she is no longer indisposed, maybe there's a way to contact. I can't remember her name now. The lady in the wooden rose is all I can remember.
Alda.
To try to ask her how we can try to find the master.
I don't see any reason why Jensa wouldn't allow you to look at the rose. I would assume that she would hand it over to you for inspection or use.
What does Kip? So Kip responding to Victor says, "Sir, you," and he snaps himself out of his, keeps looking back, and he says, "Sir, you want to know what we can save?"
Yeah. What can we take with us?
So Jim, what do I need to roll to figure that out?
In this case, it's going to be a perception check. You're going to have to... It's sort of, you're going to be looking around to see if anything is salvageable, and it would
What's
be
the difficulty?
a hard difficulty.
I'd like to aid him
That's
as well.
3.
Are you... you're both trained in perception?
Yep, I am. Yeah.
So take the higher of your green dice and the higher of your yellow dice and put them together as your skill roll.
I have.
Okay, so actually, Victor, after you spend a little time rummaging through the chamber, you're able to come up with a bunch of, essentially we'll call them spare components that you would be able to use to conduct repairs on either computer systems or any type of display consoles that might be damaged in the future. In addition, you do find Master Nguyen's belongings, which of course were very minimal, but you do find 200 credits on a credit stick, as well as just some small personal effects. There is a little data pad with a hollow image on it of he and Alda and Gerdo, and a few rations, like a day's worth of rations.
Is his flask still on him?
His
Is
flask.
it so?
Yeah, assume his flask kind of fell to the floor beside him, so you would find that as well.
I will make sure that Kiara and Bior get his flask because
Sorry about that.
presumably it's still contaminated, and that may help them.
Very good. So that's a very good idea. So we'll assume on your way out you will give that to Kiara. You now have the location of the ship that Master Nguyen left for you all to leave together. If you have no other business to conduct here, you're free to go there.
Okay, so Master Nguyen is in the tank. But
He
we
was
don't know
placed
how much-
on the back to tank on the Mercy, which Kiara expressed that she was going to fly to the nearest rebel base for medical attention. And you now have the coordinates of a ship that he secured for you. And Jensa, as I was telling them before, you recognize instantly when you see the display when he was looking at it what that ship is. It's from a very high-profile ship-making company called Amador Starworks. It's a very sleek and technologically advanced type of light freighter. Very sightly compared to what is otherwise a lot of times clunky and large type of ship designs you see. This one's much more shapely and sleek.
So Kip and I will haul computer parts out of the lab best we can.
So one of you can add to your inventory that you have a set of replacement parts for repairs.
So the issue is we still need a car for Master Nguyen, however, right?
We're gonna have to leave that in the hands of Kiara and the rebels. Let's go retrieve this freighter.
So as you guys make your way out of the tower,
Jinsa looks obviously conflicted about whether to leave Master Nguyen.
and Tyrus, as you are leaving, you feel Tal Shendir, which is sort of clipped to your belt. You kind of feel, at times, by the way, you have felt this before carrying it. I haven't verbalized it to you, but that it seems to have a resonance to it, almost like a heartbeat occasionally. And at this particular point, you feel the heart rate, if you will, increasing. The pulsing from the device is just kind of palpable to you. You have no idea what it means, but as you leave the chamber, you just kind of feel that on your belt. And as you guys walk down, you see Kiara kind of loading up the ship. And she tells you also that Duskin's Cove has been evacuated before the Imperials could get there. And she gives you guys the coordinates where the transport ship is going to be sort of in a staging area for a while. So if you wanted to rendezvous with Granville or Hesh or anybody who was once in Duskin's Cove, you'd have an opportunity to meet up with them before they kind of head off in their own direction.
I'm gonna saddle up next to Jensa. I'm just gonna look at her and say, "Hey, you're our pilot. We're gonna need you to fly this freighter."
And I want to go meet with Granville one more time.
Well, Granville is no longer on the planet.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Granville is on the transport, which Kiara has told you has already left the planet to get away from the Empire, and they have proceeded to a system nearby, which you have the coordinates for. You'll be free to meet them when you have a means to travel there.
Okay.
Let's go take a look at this ship.
So as you say your goodbyes to Kiara, she exchanges with you. Make sure you have a method to communicate with her. Granted, just to clarify, when you are in space, communication is not necessarily instantaneous everywhere. So
Where are you taking him?
I'm taking him to our nearest rebel base. We have medical facilities there. I can tend to him until he comes to, and you guys can meet him again. I don't know what else to do with him.
She needs to hurry.
Yeah, we need that answer.
Thank you for your help. And I have handed her the flask, so that trace of the poison should be in there as well, if that helps.
Victor, she pats you on the shoulder for a minute and says, "Thank you, Vic. You've been a tremendous help to me. All of you have. I know it all didn't kind of work out the way we hoped, but I think this is still salvageable somehow.
Don't think us yet. We haven't done anything. We'll make it right.
I just look her dead in the eyes and, like, in a very calm tone, say, "He better not die." And I'm walking out.
She actually smiles at you for a moment because apparently you share that you both kind of share that slightly hardened edge that you can have sometimes. And she nods to you and say, "You can count on it. I will take good care of him." And as you guys separate,
Anyone can find a cure for that, whatever he has.
It does occur to you as you guys are walking to the starfighters that you only have 2 starfighters remaining with 4 seats, and there's a capacity issue.
Oh, great.
So if you want to catch Kiara before she takes off,
That's our only option, isn't it?
unless one of you want to walk, but you know.
We could just hang on the wings.
That might be fun.
Bior. And
Well,
wait,
I'll go.
Bior, just go with her. You're our medicine guy.
Yeah, I'll
Make
go
sure he
with
lives.
her and the master, and keep an eye on the master.
You realize that if you do that, you guys are going to be separated for a long time.
I don't like leaving him in the first place. I think we need to find a cure ASAP. Because I could really give a shit about the doctor or any of this other crap.
That's up to you guys. You do, Bayar, you are aware from what you understand of the toxin, he probably has less than 4 hours of life left, no matter what, unless you find an antidote or unless he can get to a medical facility.
I got an idea. Well, I have nothing further to offer as far as medicine goes than what the rebels can provide in their medical facilities. But if we need to figure out how we're going to get to the freighter, I can stay behind and continue to analyze crystals in the valley to see if we can find any more valuable ones. And maybe Kip can help me. And they can go pick up the freighter and come get us.
That works.
We need to figure out something to do for Master Newen.
Is there any point to me going to the medical facility in Duskin Cove and try to find out if there's any information about the antidote for the
That freaking
toxin?
crazy ass droid obviously did this. So if we can possibly figure out where the fuck he went and beat it out of him, I'm down for that. Or if we have any sort of way to figure out what the cure is, which might be in Duskin Cove, but the ship's in Duskin Cove. So Tyrus, ride with me. Kip, are you okay with Victor?
I guess so, ma'am. Sir?
We got
Myra,
this.
you want to come in with us, or are you going to stay here, Victor?
No. I'm going with you guys.
Okay,
I
Kip,
look at Kip and I say, what do you know about crystals?
Do they have circuits?
I'm sure they have some kind of...
Actually, Kip, while I'm thinking about it, I'm handing him my freaking busted, weird-ass lightsaber.
Jag's lightsaber?
Yeah, I'm turning this thing on. I'm like, this doesn't work right. It shouldn't look like this. Byron, can you light yours up real quick?
Oh yeah. I go full blaze.
Yeah, see how that looks? That's how this should look. Can you fix this?
So you want it to look...
Like an
So
actual
if I remember correctly, Jag's was...
a busted
for lack of a
Kylo
better-
Ren
Ja-
saber.
it was jagged plasma blade, basically, that was sparked on the sides. It was not a smooth, clean cylinder of energy. Is that right?
Correct.
Jim?
The blade created is sort of a curved scimitar appearance, and it has an unfocused kind of blazing quality to it, in a kind of sun gold orange.
So you want it to be smooth?
I want it to work right. This is obviously not working right. I'm pretty sure you broke it or something. Anyway, see if you can fix it? I don't know. I'll be back with the ship.
Yes, ma'am. I can fix it.
Okay. So the rest of you take off in your starfighters, and you are heading towards the coordinates that Master Nguyen's console gave you.
I'll be back in a second.
Okay. After about a 5-minute flight,
As we're flying, Bior, do you think if you maybe looked through the medical facilities at Duskin's Clove, like Tyrus suggested, you might be able to figure out what was used on our master?
I'm not sure if my character's experience would allow me to do that. Would that be possible, Albie?
what, to go and investigate somewhere and see what you could
Or
find?
to be able to come up with an antidote if I know exactly how it works.
You probably wouldn't have the facilities to like create an antidote, but you could look for data or information or any kind of helpful hints.
All right, well, I mean, I assume that the medical facilities had some kind of extensive resource that we could tap into as if you can get me there.
All right, let's grab the big ship and then head over to Duskin's Cove, and then we'll go back and grab the others.
All right. So, as you guys kind of tip out a 5-minute flight, you keep low to the ground and try and use natural terrain to stay hidden. And you can tell, looking out in the direction of where, you're in Starshard Canyon, which of course was like west of Duskin's Cove. And looking out towards that way, you could see in the upper atmosphere a Star Destroyer's shape, and there are sort of scores of TIE fighters becoming visible as they're coming down.
Planet.
And they're sort of just doing security sweeps. They're sort of scouting. They're just flying through certain areas, looking to see what's around. You're able to kind of stay out of sight. And as you approach what looks like a nondescript sort of canyon or rock formation, you kind of put the ship down at the appointed coordinates, and you do see what looks to be a cave with a series of sort of rocks kind of obstructing the entrance.
Do these rocks look like they're easily movable by us, or will they require the blasties of our little ships?
It would be about boulders the size of like a small car, like a Volkswagen Beetle, like a bunch of boulders like that stacked up over the entrance.
Well, we can fix that. Weapon system active.
Okay, so you activate your weapon system.
But before we do that, can't Bior move these rocks?
What are you talking about? Those rocks are huge.
He's very powerful.
I could probably move one at a time, but if we could blast him, that'd be way easier.
Won't that attract some attention?
Well,
You willing to take the chance?
How close are those destroyers, or any sort of scouting thing on our sensors?
They look to be a distance barely visible to the human eye.
Yeah. Hey, I need access to that sound effect right there. The laser fire.
All right, so as you kind of release the torrent of blaster fire, very careful not to be excessive with the show of force. You kind of blow apart the boulders into basically smaller rocks and debris that fall away from the entrance, and the way ahead is open to you.
Okay, we're gonna land. Or I'm gonna land. I assume Tyrus is flying the other one, so I assume he will land.
All right,
Absolutely.
so ships are landed, you get out and disembark, and you are at the cave mouth.
Heading on it.
So as you walk up to the entrance of the cave. After kind of moving inward good 20, 30 feet, it opens up into a larger central cavern inside. And parked there, you see a vessel, which you see before you here. It is marked on the data pad that Victor downloaded the information from as being called the Errant Seeker. It is a Kestrel-class light freighter. And it is parked in the sand there. And as you see before you, by the way, there is a cockpit. For reference, you could tell on the crew manifest for the ship specifics, there's a complement of 6 people aboard. There is a turret mounting on top, which has a full 360-degree rotation as well as some upward movement as well. So anything 360 degrees or above is within its firing arc. Anything below the ship, of course, would not be. It's outfitted with a medium-sized laser cannon at present. And you also see extra hard points for modifying the ship. They are not currently, of course, used, but they are points for future upgrades. And what would you like to do?
I don't suppose they left the keys anywhere.
As you walk up to the back of the ship, there is a panel. So as you walk to the rear of the ship, behind it, because you can't find any entrance anywhere else. As you walk around the ship, you're looking everywhere. The cockpit glass doesn't open. It's far too big to be lifted. You walk around to the back, and aside from the engines and the thrusters, you see this really nice gangway plank, sort of like rear door hatch, if you will, that folds downward and creates a ramp to go into the ship. And there is a console that's barely reachable. And when you activate it, it's currently unlocked, by the way. The rear door hatch kind of opens with a hiss and kind of just sort of slowly lowers down, and the entrance to the ship is visible before you.
I'm not gonna peek and go around. I mean, we're gonna take the tour.
Dude,
I'm claiming dibs on room 6 since I'm the only one that can drive this thing.
Captain's prerogative, of course. But so as you walk in,
is there a bathroom? Seriously, I'm curious.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't ask her to put a bathroom in, but assume that.
No, because we're going to be on this thing for months at a time. It is crucial that there is a bathroom.
Yeah, sure.
We'll say that 11 up is the gun and 11 down is the bathroom. How about that?
Yeah, there.
We have to share one bathroom? 6
It's just
people
that
to a
black
bathroom?
hole in the floor. It'll be fine.
You just squat over that little hole. No, I'm just kidding. Assume that you go down into a private bathroom area in the belly of the ship.
We all have to share? That sucks.
Oh, wow.
Well, I have to leave room for you to find more magnificent things in the future.
A ship with bathrooms.
So as you,
So all the basic hold points we're going to spend on bathrooms.
oh, totally.
I would like to point out that it is going to take Tyrus a ridiculously long time in the bathroom every day to shave his forehead.
Actually, we're
And I don't know if
naturally
that's fair
hairless
for me.
like temple cats, so it's okay.
Lear will eventually be able to, or not Lear, but Kip will be able to get talents that allow him to add a hard point to things, so we can just add an attachment and then buy a luxury bathroom.
There we go. I want a hot tub.
I will allow you to install a luxury bathroom in here later.
So
So
our
as you
priority now is
walk
to
through-
go pick up Bayor and Victor, correct?
Lightsabers.
Oh,
and
and I
with that-
almost forgot. On the table, in the center of the conference table, in the middle of the lounge area, you see a large dodecahedron-shaped object floating on a stand, seemingly just sort of hovering above the stand, rotating slowly in midair. It is lit
cool.
up
It's
all
one of the
over.
Lightsaber ball trainee things. Do I recognize it from my childhood? You know, the part before I got traumatized.
You could make a You could make a average difficulty knowledge lore check. Anyone who is present can do that.
I have.
And Jensa, for your background, you can add a boost dice.
And
What difficulty is it?
Average, 2 purple dice.
apparently the Jedi temple I was at was so remote that it did not have any cool Jedi training balls.
So yeah, you're not quite sure what it is, but it's pretty fascinating. It has all of these holographic circuitry on it. There's sort of projections of all these very intricate patterns dancing on it. It's sort of lit up beautifully. You feel something from it naturally due to your gifts in the Force, being Force sensitive.
Well, the first thing Jens is going to do after the cursory look around, since I don't recognize the ball, is I'm going to immediately go into the cockpit. I'm going to appropriately passkey this thing to myself, however that works.
Yeah, so Jen says you walk in there and activate the console. The ship power comes on and all of the systems hum to life. You see beautiful cascading and lights all across the consoles. And for the first time in a long time, you feel like home. The ship brings you a sense of comfort. The consoles and indicators are beautiful to you. And as you activate everything and sort of not only kind of put in basic security protocols and things, you do take note of the ship's registry. Every ship has a registry with the BOSS, like the Bureau of Starships with the Empire. It is registered in another name that you don't recognize, but you are able to rekey the ship to recognize you as the sort of the operator. All of the interior lights come on and the engines activate.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and rudimentarily set up Victor as navigator and Kip as engineer and give Tyrus and Bior like a password they can enter in an emergency situation.
Well, I've got gunnery skills, so I'm going to go up to the turret.
Ooh.
So, by the way, Tyrus, as you walk over to the turret emplacement, there is a small button visible. You press it, and from above you, these tracks come down, and a beautiful leather chair kind of slides down the tracks and is accessible for you to sit in.
Up I go.
And as you sit in the chair, the moment it detects your weight and that you are properly positioned, a harness comes around to kind of secure you, and the chair slides up the tracks out of the area that you are in and through the top of the hull into the turret and locks into place, and you are now seated inside the turret. Of course, no one can see you in there from inside the ship, and you can't see the people inside the ship, but you are now inside the turret space, which you can rotate freely.
Well, I familiarized myself with the workings of the gun because I think we're going to need.
I will also going to key the major systems controls to be accessible from room number 6.
Okay.
Just so if something happens in the middle of the night, I need to peek real quick, I can do it from my room.
So
And
how
I'm
far
just going to
are we-
do like a general accounting of the ship's capabilities, familiarize myself with the system really quick before I, try to fly this thing.
Cool.
So you have, I'll run through it all with you briefly. Your Silhouette 4 ship, that gives your general size category, and it has to do with a lot of the checks and things, and the limitations on your piloting maneuvers. Anything Silhouette 4 or below, you can use pretty much all the piloting special skills on. It has an armor of 3, which functions like Soak does on a personal character. And it has a speed of 3, which of course is upgradable with further modifications to the ship. its hull threshold is 22, which is essentially like its wounds, and its system strain threshold is 16. It has a defense of 1 in the fore and aft. Ships of this size only have fore and aft defenses. Port and starboard don't apply to smaller ships like this. Basically what this means is any attack made against you on one of these zones automatically has a 1 setback dice to represent your defense. There are maneuvers or actions you can do in space that you can redirect the defense. So you can take for example, 1 defense from the fore of the ship and move it to the aft if you're being pursued and you want to kind of boost the shields in the back. The ship does have an energy and fuel level, which will deplete on your travels and can be replenished by docking places. There's enough consumables to last 2 months without you starving. You have a Class 2 main hyperdrive, and if that fails or is damaged, there's a Class 12 backup hyperdrive, and a maximum encumbrance capacity of 90 on the ship. The weapon is a medium-sized laser cannon, and its statistics are there. And as I indicated, it can rotate in a 360-degree direction anywhere in the upper hemisphere of the ship. It can't fire below the ship. And I think that covers it.
So,
Captain, you have the helm.
Tyrus, thought. Those fighters outside are not without value. We should sell them if we can figure out a way to take them.
Sell them to whom and take them how?
What are those short range fighters? They need to they can't do any sort of deep distance, can they?
They have no hyperdrive. As you recall, the hyperdrives were being delivered by Jagasan at the time that the shit went down.
Let's fly them back to Victor. If you two can pilot them back to Victor and Kip, let's see if Kip can get them. Or anything of value.
Sure.
Like possibly shields, maybe? I don't know.
But that means that Tyrus has to let go of the guns.
Aw, I just got used to my fine Corinthian leather chair.
He's like, no, I'm not moving.
It has that new turret smell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, but you can come back up here. Meanwhile, let's not leave valuable things just lying about in the desert.
Well, I think that's reasonable, but before we head out, the medical facility at Duskin's Cove, is it still there or has it all been removed?
You wouldn't know this.
I thought that's where we're going.
Well, considering the Master has 4 hours to live, we might want to get moving. And did we get a chance to call our network of contacts about the poison?
Yeah, you can do that at any time, actually. Let's,
Well, while we're flying back to pick up Victor, we can perhaps do that.
All right, fair enough. All right, your current contact networks, you have Hornaday and Gillyweather imports, a scope of 1 and an expertise of 2, and their knowledge is in underworld-related things, particularly commerce. So, given that you are currently in an area that is served by the HoloNet, you do have some access to long-range communications, although within the same system. So as you try and activate the comm systems, could you make for me a average computers check, please?
Me or Tyrus?
Whoever would like to do it. I assume Tyrus, because he was asking to contact the network. Okay, so Tyrus, you are able to raise the transport, but as you do, you can see a warning indication that the transmission has been intercepted. And you hear Granville kind of respond, and he greets you. Tyrus, how can I help you? You got out okay, didn't you?
We're on our way, and then I sent him the information about our suspected toxin. Do you have anyone that might have an antidote for this?
By the way, I will remind you, you're doing this knowing that your transmission's being intercepted.
Isn't that the Star Trek first rule? Never give a transmission over a unencrypted channel. So, yes, I'm aware that I'm probably being listened to, but figure
Okay,
I have
all right.
relatively little to lose by
So what do you-
revealing
You're also
that piece of
asking for a
information.
cure for a rare poison, not like, secret passcodes to the rebel base.
This is where we are.
So you're asking him if he knows anything about that poison?
If he knows anyone that might give us, that might be able to come buy the antidote in the black market.
Okay, so what you're going to do, your contact network has a scope of 1 and an expertise of 2. So what you're going to be rolling is 2 yellow dice, and the difficulty is 3 purple dice. So they have a scope of 1, which is the same as like a characteristic, and they have 2 expertise, which is the same as like your proficiency. So it's 1 green dice that's upgraded twice, so it's two yellow dice.
Okay.
And the difficulty for the information you're asking for would be 3 purple. Okay,
Oh.
so what basically happens is as you're kind of discussing with him what he knows about it, he isn't able to give you any immediate information, but he does kind of remind you that if you guys can rendezvous, that he can get you sat down with Shuck, who can probably help.
Okay,
While you're-
we're inbound.
Yeah, while you're doing that, actually, you get a warning indicator on the console, Sarah, that there are 2 TIE fighters incoming on your position.
All right, we gotta move, guys. I'm gonna hit the gas and get the fuck out of here. Let's see what this baby can do.
Victor, here we come. Now, did
So-
we decide that I'm flying one of the fighters so that we're going to get parts, or am I
Yeah.
staying in the turret?
If we can, I mean, if we have the opportunity to get one of these fighters, we should. Better shields, I believe. Can we take shields from one ship in Adam to ours?
No, they would have entirely different components, being major differences in size, class. and everything.
Damn it. They're max, and this is a PC.
Yeah.
It'd be
I
like
would just say
trying
that
to
right-
hitch a moped motor onto your truck, you know?
I would say, Jensa, me being at the turret to defend us from these fighters might be more valuable than the fighters
Yes,
that we're
yes,
trying to
let's
get rid
go.
of. So let's go.
Let's go.
All right, so as you take off, you realize that you're lifting off into an enclosed cavern with a fairly, you don't see any sky, basically.
Well, there's a hole in the front, and we have a cannon.
So is there a cannon on the front or only in the turret?
Only in the turret, and it is
But it's
currently under your
360.
control.
So I would rotate the turret to the opening, and I would blast it.
So you basically light it up, and as you fire the turret, you kind of feel this like really satisfying hum as it like lights up, and his whole face is kind of lit up red as the cavern glows red from the blaster fire. It's actually a laser, not a blaster. So sort of beams come out and hit the rock, and they're instantly not only exploded, but you just kind of see them sort of vaporized as you're just blowing a hole through the cavern, and you're able to create an opening for you, Sarah. So just go ahead and make me an average piloting skill check. All right, so you manage to sort of squeeze through the cavern opening as you fly the ship out, and off into the desert sun as you kind of fly out. It is kind of approaching evening time now. So as you fly, you kind of see sunset. You're heading your back towards Starshard Canyon. And the sensor system is showing 2 TIE fighters currently at long distance from you, but they're closing.
May I take evasive actions?
They are currently being long distance from you. Your speed, you can actually accelerate to your maximum speed if you like.
Full throttle?
Yeah, you can full throttle it, and you kind of accelerate slowly. You feel the engines kind of like roar to life, and you feel yourself in the gravity of this moon kind of getting pushed forward as the starship kind of takes off. you're still pretty far away from the TIE fighters at this moment. As you manage to close in on Duskin's Cove before they are able to close the distance to you. Not Duskin's Cove, excuse me. To the is that where you were going, or were you going to?
Well, if the starfighter's already in orbit enough that we can see, I think Duskin's Cove is probably a wash, unless we can get there safe, at which point we need to do so now. So that would depend on what's on the scanners.
Okay, so assume that the 2 TIE fighters are pursuing you because they're aware of your existence from the intercepted transmission. They're still long distance from you. You have enough time to go to either location without being molested.
If we stop at Duskin Cove, though, they'll catch up.
Yes, if you stop at either place long enough, they're going to catch up. Yes.
All right, well, let's pick up Victor then first.
All right, so you direct the errant seeker towards Starshard Canyon, and as you get there, you see Victor and Kip down in the canyon looking through crystals. You're hovering over the canyon as we speak.
So, in our time, did we find any crystals of interest? I will try my best to explain what we're looking for to Kip. Let him know these kyber crystals, they have value, but it's a quality thing. We go through the 4 C's.
You do go through the 4 C's, but as of your last time through the canyon, you seem to have picked clean anything of worth. The time you spent surveying through, you don't really find anything useful. And I will remind you, especially Tyrus remembers this, he has, I think, 3 crystals currently being having
With
been
Granville.
sold recently by Granville.
And Granville said he was going to directly credit my account. Have those credits shown up?
No.
So that
not
I
to your
can
knowledge.
share them with the party?
They're still in escrow.
Yeah, right. Actually, it's on Apple Pay. So,
we're poor
is it
now.
worth going to Duskin's Cove to see if there's anything worth salvaging and to check out if the medical bay has information, or should we just get the hell off the planet?
Kip, proposition for you. I can give you a fighter and you can try to get home on your own, or you're going to have to hang in there before we can drive you home.
But the ship doesn't have hyperdrive, so it will take my entire lifetime and more to get home.
Just offering.
You'll be
I
an
don't
old
want you
man
to
by the
feel-
time you get
I don't
there.
want you to feel like you're in any way being held with us against your will, but we do have to try to save Master Nguyen, and I promise you we will get you home the moment we get a second to do so.
Well, considering I'll be dead before the fighter will be able to get me home, my only choice is to go with you now.
Don't sound so
Good
excited
choice.
about it.
It's so flat.
It is simple math.
And as you guys are kind of boarding, I point to the door for room number 6 and say that's my room.
Okay, so you're taking the ship down low enough into the canyon so that you can land, put the hatch down in the back, and the other 2 can climb on.
Right.
Yep. Oh yeah, I thought they were already on.
No. So Kip and Victor, this is the first time you're seeing the vessel. It would definitely be far above average in terms of its appointments and luxury quality from what you typically would see. Kip, you would have known people akin to your patrons who would have had vessels like this routinely.
This is real nice. Where's the shitter?
There's only one, and it's down the stairs.
I direct Victor to the black hole in the floor. But how do I figure out where the sensors are if I were trying to...
You have a computer access terminal in the cockpit. There's seating there where you can access any subsystem you like from the computer. All of the screens are sort of multifunction displays, meaning you can change the content of the screen to suit what you need to do. If you're jamming, you can change it to that. If you want to co-pilot, you can maneuver some ability to sort of route energy to different systems on the ship to do that. You can even access some engineering things like overclocking systems and such. So, adaptable. You might be interested in going into the cockpit then?
I would like to sit down at the computer if it's not occupied.
I think, Victor, that is the place you were born for, and perhaps we could take Kip to the engine room.
I envision Tyrus going up to look at the computer console, and Victor just sort of, excuse me.
And I'm just like looking down at the smudged terminal and thinking, machines.
Kip.
You can go back in there and hold your big gun if you want to.
Just by the way, the first thing I'm gonna do is check the log. Do I find out that our last communication was basically traced?
Yeah, you would see communication logs, and you could clearly see that there was an indication that it was traced.
I say, "Whoa, who is?" And I just look around. We're being tracked, right?
Tyrus, what do you look like when he says that?
I just look at him, realizing that he has not already recognized that I'm 3 chess moves ahead of that. Yes, of course I know we've been tracked. Does my giant forehead tell you nothing? Does my raised brow not imply that I'm way ahead of you?
Raised brows. Sorry.
Only one, the left one.
Okay.
If I raised both, your head would explode.
Can I attempt to spoof a tracking that would lead them off course?
He's mind fucking someone when the right one goes up.
Let's see.
That's his tell.
I would say
like Obi-Wan has to wave his hand. Tyrus has to raise his right eyebrow.
Without any technology specific for evading sensors, when you've already been spotted, I don't think there's too much you can do aside from maybe interfering with their subsystems, but they still kind of know where you are.
And I have already given him computer access.
If they fired a missile or some kind of guided weapon against you, you could misdirect that. But it would kind of be akin to using like a stealth skill when somebody's already seen you.
Okay, got it.
The TIE fighters are currently at short range. You can now see them out the cockpit.
Then I'm getting up to the turret immediately.
Kip goes to the engine room.
I'm guessing Duskin's Cove is out, Albie?
They're pressing
That's for
matters.
you guys to tell me.
Let's deal with these 2 fools before we make that decision.
Alright. You gonna gun, Tyrus?
I'm already in the turret.
Alright, I am, hitting the hay. I'm going over comms, telling everyone to buckle up for, combat.
Yes, ma'am, patron.
Ma'am, what?
Patron.
Patron.
Madam Patron. Okay, let's just go in order then. Sarah, what do you want to do at the moment? You have 2 TIE fighters at short range, which means they're not quite close enough to fire yet, but...
Okay, I'm going to target one of the TIE fighters, and I guess I will stay on target to help Tyrus with the targeting, so I'm basically going to play chicken with one.
Okay, so you are currently at speed 0. Do you want to use a maneuver to accelerate?
Yes.
All right, so you accelerate to a speed of 1 with this maneuver. The ship begins to instantly... you're closing the distance to the TIE fighters, correct?
Yep.
All right, great. Any actions that you want to do as the pilot?
Just evasive kind of swishing because I am heading at them head on.
Okay, so what we'll do is you'll downgrade your action to another maneuver. You'll be able to upgrade. If you're taking evasive action, only the pilot can do this. And, you're not quite going fast enough yet. So let's pause that idea. When you're over a speed of 3, you can do that. So let's say you use your second maneuver to increase from your speed to 2. Okay, let's jump to Victor. Anything you want to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and attempt to slice systems.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a hard computers check, please.
Oop.
All right. So actually,
okay.
You do manage to succeed. Actually, the target has -1 defense in its front zone. So basically, you start to hack the shield systems and disrupt them, so they have less defenses against your attacks. However, when you do that, you seem to open up a vulnerability in the ship systems, and you sense that one of the two TIE starfighters is trying to counter hack you on its next turn, and it will get a boost to that attempt.
I would like to target that particular fighter right now.
Okay, given your current speed, you are just closing into close range, so you are within range of fighting. Firing, I mean.
I say we fire.
All right, so go ahead and make me a skill check, please, for the lasers. Fire the lasers.
How many difficulties?
You are at close range, so it's one. Hang on, let me see how that works. Oh, for difference in speed. It is going to be 2 purple dice. You're going the same speed. Okay, so you fire, and as you're just getting used to your brand new shiny turret, you seem to swing a little wide, and you know, it seems like its maneuvering is a little too easy for you. You kind of got to get used to it. Caused you to miss the shot. However, you kind of managed to get a feel for it, and on your next attack, you will get a boost dice.
Okay.
And let's jump to Kip.
Kip is going to attempt to boost shield, which is apparently a hard mechanic check, right? That's 3.
Yes.
I have something called Gearhead that I can remove black box per rank of Gearhead. I don't know what that means.
What that means is if I tell you that you have a setback to any of your rolls, you can remove one.
I can remove it, but I don't have any. Okay. I have Inventor, which when I'm constructing new items or modifying existing attachments, I guess I'm not doing that. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm good. Let's see. I'm going to read one more thing. Reduce the amount of system strain. Okay, I'm not trying to reduce the amount. I'm going to boost the amount. Okay. So I have 3 difficulty, yeah?
Yep.
And then I roll.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Boom.
Wow.
+1. Okay, equals. So you don't have any system strain yet, which is good. But you actually boost
I'm boosting it. Yeah, I'm boosting our strain. So based off the thing that you just had posted, which I just unfortunately closed.
Yes, so you're going to get an extra +1 to both defensive zones for 1 turn.
There you go. Yeah.
Great.
That brings us to Bioware. What are you up to?
I'm running around flailing my hands.
Fire could be the co-pilot.
That's
if
actually
Fire
what Victor
co-pilot,
is.
that would
Victor's
help.
co-piloting.
Oh, Victor's at the computer. That's also the co-pilot.
Yeah,
I'm at the
that's
computer.
co-pilot. Yeah.
Okay.
Tyrus, I made a mistake.
Fire could cure some of my wounds. That would be nice.
Yeah, we need a med bay too, don't we?
Yeah.
There's no med bay in a ship this size. You'd have to have a larger ship.
But there is a massage room, so it'll be fine.
I'm not handing you a capital ship on the first end of the first session. Tyrus, I wanted to clarify. I was incorrect, actually. You can use either perception or computers to do a scan of the enemy. I was made a mistake on that. So your perception skill is useful for that.
I'd like to do a perception check, please.
But it's Bioware's turn.
Oh, sorry.
How naughty of you.
Really, I mean, if I could heal someone, while stuff's going on, I might as well do that. I can't do anything else.
You can go lay your hands on Tyrus. But he's in the turret, so that would be hard.
Oh,
Hate when that happens.
hey man. Then I don't know. I'm just.
Actually, you can click the button to make his chair come down if you want to.
No, he's kind of important where he's at right now.
All right. Do you want to do anything else?
No, I don't know, man. I'm just trying to be at the ready to try and lend a hand wherever it's needed. But I don't know what else I can do.
You can scan the enemy. You
sensors?
can attempt to jam. You can give a boost to the next person who's going to be firing weapons.
You
There's
can
a lot of
point
things you can
your hands on the sensors and go over there.
Yeah, no. If I could boost the next attack, then
Yeah, so
I'm
there's
all
something
over that.
called fire discipline that you can do. In other words, you can use leadership skills or your discipline to kind of, drill sergeant the people who are firing, and you can, if you succeed in the roll, you can add a boost to their next attack roll.
Okay, yes, I want to do that. Fire discipline.
All right, so what do you shout up to Tyrus while you're kind of trying to motivate him? You saw him just whiff that last shot. He just swung that turret like way wide and just fired a bunch of shots off.
Tyrus, I need you to focus. I need you to focus. You can do this. Come on, buddy.
Tyrus
roll-
was always picked last at wiffle ball.
Roll me
actually
a-
really good on the guns, so just throwing that out there.
Bior, roll me a hard discipline check, please. Nice.
Yay.
Okay, so Tyrus, bear in mind your next attack roll
Yes.
gets a plus boost dice.
Right. And I get
Okay.
another plus boost dice because of my advantage on the last shot, right?
You do. So
So I get 2
you're
boost dice?
bound to hit the next
We
one.
slap.
You never know. You never know.
And hang on one second.
Albie,
What? I didn't hear you.
how many days has it been since we slept? It seems like it's been a really long time.
It has been it has been actually longer than a day since you've slept. So
So we're all tired as crap.
Strain
too.
coming.
if you
Right.
guys don't really kind of sleep by the resolution of this session, you're going to start having penalties.
Uh-oh.
All right. So anyone has not acted yet this round? No. Okay.
Did Kip do something? He went to the engine room.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
boosted
Yeah, he
shields.
rolled like a shit
Right.
ton of successes.
Right.
All right, so one of the TIE fighters kind of is heading straight for you, Jensen. You see him kind of closing, almost playing chicken with you. And at the last minute, he pulls upward as he starts to unload the blaster fire onto the ship.
Okay. Can I do anything about it? Can I take evasive actions, or we not gone fast enough yet?
Not yet. You used your actions last turn, so he's just basically going on his turn. And you guys currently have 2 defense on your forward. Okay, so
Oh,
all right, so let's see. He does 9 damage. He does 9 damage as his laser cannons kind of rake across the front shields. You feel like some thudding and vibrations inside as you kind of take the first hit in the ship. Remember, you do have soak, so in other words, your armor of 3, so you only take 6 hull trauma. And as you do so, you kind of get, Jensa, kind of like a really sickening feeling in your stomach when you just, this brand new baby that you just got just took
I
a
know.
hammering. And it flies past you and is now behind you. The second one comes up to do a similar maneuver.
And that was the end of our brand new ship.
Aw.
God damn it!
So pretty.
Remember, you can downgrade their attack rolls if you want to use your
Forced.
Don't forget your destiny points. Yeah, don't
Right.
forget them. All right, so he misses. The shots go wide as he actually has to pull the stick really hard to avoid kind of colliding with you, and he swings off to the left and ends up behind you now. This brings us to you guys' turn again, and Jensa, what would you like to do?
I am going to hit the gas, and then I'm going to try one of those like flippy maneuvers to lock in on the two behind me. I'm basically just going to loop-de-loop so that I am behind them.
Okay, so let's see. You are... are you accelerating with your maneuver?
Yes.
Is that,
yeah.
Okay, so you're
I
now
wanna
at
be able to
speed
use
3.
evasion actions and stay on target.
Okay, and stay on target. Got it. Oh, nice. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, stay on target. I'm going to lock onto one of these freaking high flight.
Wow, so until the end of Jensa's next turn, attacks made by this ship get an extra green dice. Tyrus.
Oh, cool.
Hey, and because of my roll, it says that everyone gets a boost dice. Because I rolled 2 successes. I rolled 3 successes.
Correct. So that means that anyone firing the guns will get a boost dice. Which
Also,
Tyrus...
it's only people firing. Because it says if I roll 2 of them, the bonus applies to additional crews. So it's only
correct,
the people firing?
But that bonus is to next crew member firing, meaning to any crew member firing. So anyone firing the guns would get that bonus.
Okay.
Tyrus, all you.
So I get an extra green, 2 extra boost, and how many difficulty?
You are currently still going the same speed, so 2 purple dice. All right,
Yay.
so you successfully actually hit the TIE fighter. Let me see what its armor of 2, and it is severely damaged. So as you hit it with the lasers, you see the shields kind of evaporate, and it takes severe damage. One of the wings becomes sort of shattered, and it starts spinning in a really awkward kind of corkscrew pattern as it's kind of screaming back behind you. By the way, I will say a second crew member can remotely fire the turret as well from a station. So in other words, from a cockpit station, you can remotely control the turret. That would enable another person to attempt to fire as well.
Good idea.
Okay.
Okay, who's next?
Kip will attempt to repair hull damage, but he doesn't know how to do that. Well, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what to roll. I have a talent called Solid Repairs. Okay.
So you'd go ahead and roll that difficulty check, and for each success, you can gain repair 1 hull trauma.
I see. And there's 3 difficulty dice, right?
Correct. Okay, so yeah, you're on. What does your talent say though? Can you read that to me again?
Yes, it says solid repairs is passive. The character repairs +1 hull trauma per rank of solid repairs, that 1 rank, whenever he repairs a starship or vehicle.
Okay. Okay, so I guess if you don't succeed, then you don't get the additional 1.
Sure, that makes sense.
All right, so you try your best, but you can't quite. You're not familiar with the systems yet, and you're kind of unable to accomplish anything meaningful.
Okay.
Victor, what about you?
So we're getting counter sliced, right? Or did that end up not happening?
He did not take advantage of that on his turn.
All right, I'm going to try and shut down his weapon systems.
Which
And
one, by the way?
The DC should be down because of my ability, I think. But I failed anyway.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Slice into systems. Okay, got it. That was disable target weapons. Okay, got it. All right. So you tried and were unable to get through. Bior, anything you would like to do?
If I could do that boosting maneuver again, I try to like call out positions. I don't know if my warfare knowledge will help here at all.
It would be discipline check for the fire discipline. I'd also allow you to remotely fire the turret from the cockpit if you wanted to go there.
Ooh, do I need like a gunnery rating?
It's a gunnery skill.
No, then I'd rather boost tires again.
Go for it. Discipline, 3 purple dice. Okay. Despite you kind of trying to motivate Tyrus, all you end up doing is kind of screaming up at him, and it's not having the effect that you thought it would.
Use that forehead for something.
He pushes a button on the console. Yeah. And a blast door closes, so he can't. He just like is ignoring you. All right, I think that is. Anyone else not acted this round? No. Okay, so the TIE fighter is actually going to have to use a maneuver to. He's going to increase his speed to 4 to be slightly faster than you. And he is going to then use another maneuver to come around and regain his close distance to you. The second one is going to also increase his speed with 1 maneuver and is going to actually try and pull around the front of you to make another front pass. And it is Jensen's turn.
Do I have any guns up front at all?
You do not have separate guns up front. They can be installed in the future if you would like, but you can remotely control the turret if you would like to.
I'm going to stay on target for the time being then.
Okay, Tyrus, that'll mean you get an extra green dice on your roll next time.
Great.
And any other maneuvers or actions?
Well, if we get hit, I'll do a snap roll.
Oh, I forgot to mention, now that you're going the appropriate speed, you can do evasive action if you want to.
And I'll do evasive actions and I'll stay on target then.
All right, so as you kind of start to spin and agilely kind of turn and rotate the ship, this will now make for any attacks made upon you to have extra difficulty. Tyrus, how about you?
I would like to fire at the fighter that we already almost killed and get it out of the way.
So you spin the guns around facing that fighter. Please remember that you have an extra green dice to this roll.
And how many difficulty?
It is now going 1 faster than you, so it has become 3 purple dice. You're a slower target trying to hit something faster.
Oh.
Okay, so you spin around again and try as you might. You can't quite hit this thing. It's just screaming across the side of your field without you being able to kind of lead it. Kip.
Kip is going to attempt to, again, repair the hull damage. Excuse me. I got a advantage last time. Does that do anything?
Yeah, you can have a boost dice to this attempt. Nice. Okay, so you're going to actually repair 2 hull trauma.
Right.
So as you try and kind of get in there and compensate for subsystems that seem to be overloaded by the hit, you're managing to kind of patch up some of the malfunctions.
I'm giving it all she's got, Captain.
And Victor.
Gonna keep pushing, trying to turn them weapon systems off.
Go for it. Which one are you targeting?
Come on. I will target the most wounded vessel, if I can determine that.
Okay, so attempting to slice their subsystems, you actually decrease their defensive zones. You need to roll a triumph to turn their weapons off.
I know, but I'm
And-
going for it anyway.
You're going for it, okay. They will actually... let's see here.
Can he spend destiny points? I don't know how these things work.
Yeah, you can spend destiny points to upgrade any roll you make or to downgrade any enemy roll they make against you. So it's up to you to tell me
Well,
when you
this
want to
is
do that.
right. It's 2 TIE fighters, right? And they're
Correct.
one-man vessels, so he can't exactly counter slice me without not shooting us, right?
Exactly. Which he chose to shoot you instead. So
Yeah. So I'm just gonna try and keep him occupied. Make all the lights in his vessel start flashing.
And Bior, what are you doing?
I'm trying to encourage people, man.
Go for it. Be encouraging.
All right, so we got one flying in from the left, and the other one I can't see. Someone needs to shoot the one coming in from the left.
Tyrus, don't you ignore me. Tyrus!
I'm on it. I open the blast door and say I'm on.
Roll it.
So how many purple?
It's Bior. He's gonna roll discipline 3 purple dice.
Oh, great.
Oh, Bior. You're
Hey, but they
cracking under the
cancel-
pressure.
They cancel out, so it's good.
So, okay, you don't succeed, and however, with your 3 advantage, I'll give you a bonus boost on your next roll. Whatever it might be. Anyone not acted this round? I think that was everybody. Alright, TIE Fighter's making another pass.
I'm ready to snap roll if we are hit.
He is going faster than you, so it's at less difficulty. If I'm not... do you guys still have the defensive bonus? What was that
I don't
for?
know how that works. I just take it. I take strain, but I don't know if I need to keep rolling for it.
Oh, what are you taking strain for?
Well, the first time I rolled for it and I got the success, I take 1 strain. I don't know if I keep rolling for it though. I assume I do.
Tell
I'm
me
not
what
sure.
you're referring to, though. I'm not sure what you're taking strain for.
When the first round, when I boosted our defenses,
Oh,
that
okay.
was you take strain for that.
The ship takes strain for that, basically.
Oh, the ship straight things. Okay, so not me.
All right. All right. So I think it's just defense of 1. Anybody using any destiny points
Right.
before I roll this?
Can we roll a destiny point to add difficulty?
Yeah, you can.
I would like to do that.
So he runs around trying to hit you. His lasers actually do connect. Jensa, do you wish to do a snap roll?
All right, snap roll. I roll pilot, right?
Yeah, so what you're going to do is take an out-of-combat incidental action to reduce the damage automatically by a sum of the ship's handling plus your rank in piloting. So he hits you for 6 damage. What's your current piloting skill?
Just at 1 because I was thinking about taking that thing to open that thing that we were talking about last time.
Got it. Okay. So actually you reduce the damage by 1, your armor reduces it by 3, so you only take 2 actual hull trauma. Just a minor hit.
I am still torn between smuggler and ace pilot, by the way.
The ship systems, like representing sort of your kind of like dramatic like yanking of the systems, like the stick over to the side and the ship kind of lists over. There's some system strain added. He passes. The second TIE fighter comes in for an attack run.
I'm gonna yell over the cob. How we doing back there, Kip?
Good, Madam Patron. I have it covered.
Okay, so actually,
Maybe not.
Well, thank you for playing Candle or the Night.
Well,
Okay, yeah.
Roll credit.
Well, I'm trying to encourage the second person to fire the guns.
Rogue
But...
One over here.
I know,
All right, so
right?
7 damage minus 3, so you take 4 additional hull trauma.
Every time I get inside his ship. Every time.
Okay, so yeah, you haven't crash landed yet. Don't worry, Jensa. Okay, so it's all you, Jensa. What do you want to do?
I am holding back the tears for this beautiful new ship that I have barely gotten to fly for 3 seconds before something horrible has happened. I've got to find out what is cursing me right now, because we haven't had a moment's peace since we landed on the shithole planet. Actually, I just figured it out.
I love
It's that
Jensa
freaking
Rage.
purple
It's the
cloud.
best.
I am cussing profusely if Victor's paying attention, but I'm not doing it over the comms, so.
You can, aside from piloting checks, you can angle your deflector screens to redirect your defenses if you want to. You can.
We've got 1 TIE fighter left.
2.
No, there's still 2.
No,
1.5.
we haven't really. Yeah.
I would suggest the second person take shots as well, mine as well. So.
Kip, can you use the guns from back there, man?
I'll shoot the guns. Kip, keep preparing. I think that we need that.
All right,
Yes,
so Jensa,
sir.
what are
My
your
character
actions?
Keeps losing. I keep losing my sheet. I mean, I can try to shoot. I've got a really good agility. We can all shoot on our turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, theoretically.
Yeah, so I'm gonna lock on this guy. Stay locked on target for the boost.
Okay.
I am going to flip the gun controls.
So all of a sudden, as you do that,
And-
Tyrus, you're sitting up there in the turret, and all of a sudden you're no longer in control of it, and you just start spinning in a different direction, and it's very kind of dizzying to you and very unsettling.
I'm going to lock on to the motherfucker that is the most hurt.
Yeah, you see him passing in front of your front forward arc as you hear coming as like
I've given
skidding in
myself
front
a
of you.
boost, and it's average difficulty.
He is going 1 faster than you, so currently it's 3 purple dice. These are smaller, faster ships you're firing at.
Can I hit the gas and fire?
You're currently at max speed for your ship size.
Motherfucker!
Yeah, so they're just
Alright, so
faster than
3?
you.
She's a
3 purple
cow.
dice. You give yourself an extra green dice, and you're welcome to use any destiny points.
And
you
I'm
want.
using a destiny point.
All right, so
Do I have
upgrade
to
the.
click the destiny point, or?
I'll do that. Just upgrade the green plus. You green plus it.
Okay. Are we good?
Good. Roll that. Roll it. All right. Such lucky rolls you guys are having tonight. Okay, so you do 6 damage on the damaged one. There's no way that he can survive that. And as your shots kind of skid across the front of the sort of circular capsule part, you see the hull blow out and the glass on the front of the cockpit breaks. And you see his little pilot body get sucked out into the vacuum of space. And the ship just
Oh,
kind
are
of
we
like...
in space?
Oh, okay, no, he gets sucked out into the
Yeah, 'cause I've
atmosphere.
been rolling a different planet. I've
Yeah,
been rolling
yeah.
a planetary and not space.
And yeah, he screams as his body goes to the ground. You see a big thud, and the sand kind of shoots up, and the ship just crashes down into the earth.
Really need better ejectabilities than those TIE fighters. I'm just saying. And I'm gonna flip the gunnery over to.
They're clearly
Tyrus.
kamikaze.
All of a sudden, your
Vehicle.
console responds to you again as you kind of regain control of the turret, with only mild nausea.
Sorry, Tyrus.
Bleh!
Vomit plastered all over the cockpit.
All over my beautiful leather chair.
We need some front guns for me.
I need a squeegee.
We have such a needed vacation.
Tyrus, did Granville send you those credits yet?
Not that I've seen, the little bastard.
Alright, let's blow this guy to hell. Whose
That's
turn
why
is it?
he's not hitting anything. He keeps checking his bank account. He keeps
Yeah.
hitting refresh.
He's remotely checking his account like every
Refresh.
2 minutes.
Refresh.
Your Venmo.
I'm pissed now.
All right, Tyrus, what are you gonna do besides check your
I
Venmo?
am going to blow up that second TIE fighter.
Do it.
3 difficulty?
3 difficulty, yes.
And
You
nobody
got a
gets to
boost
boost
from
me,
me.
right? I get a boost.
Not a boost.
Oh yeah, you do
Okay.
get a green. You get a green boost. Green thing. Yeah.
Oh, hold on, I didn't do that right. I
What did
didn't
you-
roll it right. You
All
said
right.
it. I get a green thing. I added a boost dice.
You get an extra green thing, a green dice.
I have to do it over. I
I love our
I think so.
complicated terming.
extra green dice, 3 purples. Boom.
Nice. Okay, so you hit. So as you do that, actually, he is going to be taking 5 damage. So he's actually severely damaged as you hit the hull. You see it actually start to fracture. And he manages to kind of turn and he kind of like pulls an air brake and punches it to quickly like spin around on you. And he's going to have a boost dice in his next attack against you. Let's go to Kip.
Ma'am, we are 88% hull, and we are 75% strain. What would you like me to do? Or I can take remote control of cannons and fire.
Shoot him.
Let's just get rid of this TIE fighter, Kip.
Shoot? Okay. Sorry, I have to go to the cannon. Okay, got it. Do I have any boost or disadvantage or anything?
You still got a boost for me.
You
I think.
have an
We're
extra
on-
green dice. By the way, you hear over the intercom an alarm that some form of concussion missile is locking onto you.
Okay.
don't like
Do I have an extra green dice? Do I have a boost dice, or that's it?
You have an extra green dice, and that's it. And then 3 difficult, three purple. Yes, so Kip, actually, as you remotely take control of the turret and you start firing it, you immediately connect. And before he can fire the missile at your vessel, you see his ship sort of fracture into debris and fly down towards the sand and just scatter along the ground. And for the moment, things settle down as you have survived your first battle in your new ship, which is, you know, slightly,
Our ship has barely survived.
slightly dented.
You mean our old beat up ship?
Sarah, Jen says
I
has
cried.
actually been looking at the catalog of new ships instead of flying this one, so
Hey, there has been 0 failing in my ability to pilot.
And that's just going to buff right out. We'll take it in for detailing. It'll buff right out. It'll be fun.
I can fix it, ma'am, patron.
Kip, you really don't have to call me patron. My name's Jensa.
Yes, patron Jensa.
I love this kid. I just gotta say, Victor, I love this kid.
can we keep him?
No, we can't keep him. 'Cause he's been kidnapped twice, and we're not those assholes. We're gonna take him home.
We'll find a way to
Let's
get
go.
him home.
You know, when crazy stops happening. All right, so guys, let's fucking get off. Is there any chance we can get to Duskin's Cove and then get the fuck off this rock in the next hour so that we can maybe figure out where the hell we're gonna go and catch a nap?
You tell me where you want to go.
I'm talking to the group. Do we want to attempt to check Duskin's Cove for any sort of indication of either where that ship went with that
this-
motherfucking robot, or
Do we get a perception check to tell
what they
how
used?
what's in
I-
Dustin Cove's direction?
I would say we don't want to go to Dustin's Cove for 2 reasons. 1, more TIE fighters, and 2, they already evacuated all of the reasonable people. It's just going to be a place filled with salvager scum and maybe Imperials at this point. I think it's too risky.
All right, Victor, is there any way you can track that fucking droid?
It's already hit hyperspace. I think tracking is way out of the picture.
Can
So-
Victor hack into the medical facilities database to see if there's any information? on the poison.
Sure, actually, I think that's reasonable.
While he does that, since we don't have anywhere to go for the second, the best we can do is follow Master Nguyen. So while he's doing that, I'm going to start charting navigation.
Okay. First, let's say if you're going to try and remotely hack the systems there, since you're not there to directly data spike in, it's going to be 4 purple dice difficulty for your computer's check, and you're trying to gather any meaningful information about what you can find about Crate's intentions. Correct?
Yes. Reduced by 1 for Codebreaker. And
I mean, to me,
give it a roll. That would be a success. And
Okay,
That's
so
right.
Wow.
as you kind of are remotely kind of invading the servers there, and you're looking through for anything, you spend the first 5 minutes just kind of rummaging through inventory records, useless things, patient logs, things like that. But you see in a subfolder that is, mislabeled under an inventory log category, you see an advertisement. Basically, the advertisement amounts to, in roughly 2 or 3 weeks' time, is the annual Grand Hunt, which is sort of for notable bounty hunters across the galaxy to compete. And basically, you have coordinates for where you can enter this competition. And it seems to be dog-eared or marked as a object of interest. And there was
a robot?
You don't know by who, but the only 2 people that had access to that system would be Nguyen and Crate. But
It doesn't seem like the kind of thing Nguyen would be into.
the thing is, you could tell that it was attempted to be concealed, almost like somebody might hide pornography on their hard drive under their tax return folder or something.
That's a lead, at least.
That's oddly specific, Albie.
Anything else?
It happened to a friend.
No.
He's like, no, that was me. Oh, wait!
Hashtag asking for a friend.
Exactly. No, you don't find anything else of interest.
So
looks
guys,
like Crate could be a bounty hunter.
let's make our rendezvous.
And by the way,
Maybe.
the location for the registration for that is Nar Shaddaa.
I will share that with the group. If he's interested in this, he's heading to Nar Shaddaa.
Hornaday it was Hornaday, right, that had the contact and possibly money for us?
Correct.
And
Let's
also
make that
the
our-
spice guy.
And they might actually have a lead on a cure for this poison. So let's make that our priority if everybody's okay with it. And to be honest with you guys, I understand that our master has a lot of interest in this doctor, and I know that this doctor has the potential to do some stuff that could really hurt the last of us out there in the universe. But Master Nguyen is my priority. He is a fucking diamond in the rough. He might be the only freaking real actual trained Jedi who knows what they're fucking doing left. So he is my priority. I don't know what you guys think. What do you guys think?
I'm with Jensa. I agree with Jensa.
Time is wasting away.
And he is my priority. So, I mean,
I unfortunately don't think I have a whole lot to add to his medicinal aid. I am very interested in his recovery and well-being, but absent a way to actually aid him directly, we need to bring Crate to justice. That's my position.
well, we're gonna need money regardless. So, meeting with Hornaday and following up any leads we can. I want to kill the robot
Oh, we should
just to
definitely
be able
do
to
that.
put his head on our master's feet.
Oh, we need money for sure.
Kip, full disclosure, if you haven't figured it out yet, most of us are, We're the kind of people that probably should have been Jedi.
Jedi were rebels who try to take over the Empire.
That's
Am I
not really
captive
true.
again?
Huh?
Am I a captive? You're a
No,
rebel.
you are not a captive, Kip. You are free. We are going to get you home. If you want me to drop you off at the next spaceport and you don't want to be involved with any of this, I will drop you off wherever you want. And
That's what Dad would say.
I promise you, if you want off right now, I will take you wherever you want to go.
Okay, I'll think about it.
If you want to go home, I will get
Rebels
you
go.
home. It's the minute the master is okay, I will take you home. If it's just me and you and we have to give the ship to Victor, I will take you home.
Okay. Rebels go.
That hurts my heart, but I'm not going to say that out loud. I am not with the rebellion, Kip. But we will, I guess, set coordinates for the rendezvous point. Does that give us enough time to sleep?
Yeah, it would give you enough time to sleep.
Okay, everybody, I suggest getting some rest. I'm going to shut the ship on autopilot. I'm going to wire all the alerts to my bedroom. I am going to jump in the shower really quick, because I'm sure we smell disgusting. And then I'm going to turn in.
I think this is a good place for us to call it for tonight. We're going to assume everybody gets essentially rest as you're traveling. We will say that you is it safe to say, I don't want to speak for you, but that you left the planet and you're entering hyperspace to go to an
We are
adjacent
off
system?
this fucking moon to meet up with Hornaday to make our get our money for our kyber crystals and possibly have some
Okay.
follow-up on the poison lead. I think I made it abundantly clear. Jensen's priority is her master, and yeah.
And that concludes our episode for this evening. Crushing blow, losing Master Nguyen, but players have a new starship to explore in, and we will see what adventures that brings them to. Join us again in about 2 weeks' time for our next episode. Hope everyone has a fantastic week.